Next slide, please. Okay, so what I'm going to kind of share with you is this preemption, concept of preemption, and what happens in a downturn, and what happens when there is no downturn. Everything is kind of going up, and it doesn't matter. But this is just an object lesson, if you will, of cases where I have worked with clients in the last 6 months where the economy suddenly tanked, starting about in the U.S. we started seeing it in November, December timeframe, and in other parts of the world it happened right after that. So I'm actually addressing this specific time span starting around November, December of 08 to about July of 09, where the jobs did not exist. The jobs were not known to exist. And when the clients came to me, either wanting to switch careers, wanting to switch companies, jobs, or they were simply out of work. And we decided to go after the companies where they felt best place to work. We approached these companies with these specific suggestions as to what they should be doing or they could be doing. And we sent a letter to somebody very high up, at least 2 levels above the hiring manager. So if your hiring manager is a director, we'll send this letter and resume to a senior VP or even a CEO, depending on the size of the company. So I want to show you how we did that. And these are actual examples. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, and if you looked at the last dozen or so recommendations that I have like 130 recommendations on LinkedIn. The last dozen or so, they all capture this kind of a success that we have actually achieved with clients going preemptively. And so I want to kind of walk you through how we did that. So what happens is, regardless of what vertical you are in, what industry you are in, what geography you are in, what location, whatever, service versus manufacturing, it doesn't matter. So when the economic forces kind of take a downturn, as they are now, they have in the last 8-9 months, companies kind of go from expanding their footprint, expanding their presence, to consolidating brand. They say we need to focus on a fewer brands or fewer product lines and really squeeze everything we can to get the most revenues out of what we can do with greater focus. And I'll give you examples of that. The second one is from improving quality to reducing cost. And the irony here is most people don't realize that when you improve quality systematically and systemically, you also reduce cost. And in fact, going back to nearly mid-80s or so, there is a great correlation between cost of quality or cost of poor quality and how much opportunity you have in making things better, either reducing cost or improving quality or both. And typically, the cost of quality is 20 to 30% of the revenues. So that's the opportunity you have. A well-managed quality organization has its total cost of quality in the realm of about 5%. It's a single-digit number of revenues, which is a huge difference between 20 to 30% to 5%. And so if you manage that correctly, and if you know what to do, you can do both, reduce cost and improve quality. And we've done that, and I'll show you examples of that with specific clients where we did that. Focusing on customers and moving to focusing on competitors. When things get squeezed, people start second-guessing competitors by reading press reports, by reading media, by spying, whatever they do. And to that I say, let the competitors be alone, focus on your customers, and there are specific initiatives you can do to bring that focus back, to regain your momentum that comes from delighting the customer. And there are some examples I can give you that as well. Launching new products to milking cash cows. This is a classic, because launch of new products, apart from the development costs, there is always the marketing costs and uncertainty associated with launching new products. And of course, not knowing what kind of a response you have to have supporting customers when the products are not perfect in terms of their functionality or feature set or how ready they are for the market and so forth. So there's a tendency to milk existing products that are seen as cash cows. And there is an opportunity in that. Either getting a company to see how to launch products more selectively, that's one opportunity. And the other opportunity is how to create derivatives from existing platforms, which could be considered as milking cash cows. So depending on where your focus is, if you are a new product kind of a guy, you can propose to the company that I can quickly show you how to get into the marketplace with a very new feature set without a lot of expense if you're a new product guy. If you are kind of a sustaining guy, or if you are downstream in product development, less research, more development, or more sustaining, you can say, this is a good product. I can show you how to make a quick modification to it and go back to the marketplace with a new revision and refresh the product to generate even a greater stream of revenues. And I've done both of those with my clients. The other one is enhancing user experience, which is typically what Apple does with most of their products and almost all of their products, because they're so focused on how the user experiences the functionality of what they do. To what companies typically do is going back to the focus on design. So they delegate this entire task of user experience to their design team, which is always a mistake. So it doesn't take a whole lot more effort to go from focus on design to focus on user experience. But companies in a panic to save costs or to minimize uncertainty or to do something else, take shortcuts, shy away from nailing down the user experience before they actually launch the product and focus more on design by delegating that to engineers, and that's always a mistake. So the opportunity here is, if you see your company doing this, or if you see a target that you are interested in doing this, you can get the attention by doing some research and writing an articulate letter to somebody who will say, gosh, we need somebody who thinks like that. And you will get the audience and get in front of somebody who can be a decision maker. The final one here is the shift from customer loyalty to acquiring more customers to stave off attrition. What happens is when you focus shifts from customers, customer defection starts. And when customer defection starts, people say, let's just turn up the gain on acquisition and acquire more customer to make for the loss. The irony here is, if you keep a customer and keep them loyal versus acquiring new customer, the cost of acquiring a new customer is 6 to 10 times the cost of keeping an existing customer. And most companies do not see it that way, that clearly. And these are documented costs. I'm not making it up. So there's a tremendous penalty you pay when somebody defects. And when customers defect, people just let them walk away rather than going back and reacquiring them, or going back and seeing what is their cause of defection and taking immediate corrective action to bring them back. And I have done this personally during my marketing stint for 6 years. It's much easier to get back a defected customer has walked away from you, by actually talking to them and sympathizing with their plight and doing some remedial action immediately so that they can see it, and they will come back to you very quickly, even as a more loyal customer. And I have actually done this with companies like Hewlett-Packard and IBM and Motorola and Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and Honeywell with actual accounts, client accounts. And so I can say that that actually works very well. You just have to be convinced that you can make it work for the company where you're interested in targeting your job search.